we should be able to access that. So tomorrow, make sure your iPad is fully charged. This is lesson 5, and this whole unit, chapter, whatever you want to call it, is really more of a preview of geometry. Really haven't gotten into that much geometry. Like today is not geometry at all. It's about looking at number patterns. It's actually algebra. So, and we'll talk a lot about that. But you should be able to generalize basic number patterns to find an unknown term. We call it the nth term. N standing for any number. It could be the 10th term, 100th term. So n just represents whatever term you want. And this is a linear number sequence. Now, linear has the word line in it. So if you were to graph these points, if you were to take these tables that are in this packet and plot them on a coordinate plane, you guys have a little whiteboard, you could do that, you will get all these points laying on a line. They're not going to be curved or anything. They're going to be linear. They're going to be lines. And you remember, in fact, let's do this right now. Do you remember about the equation of a line? You might not. You might have forgotten. My pictures are not great. They are on a chalkboard. Remember y equals mx plus b. Good. That's what we're doing today. You're looking for the equation of a line. If you were in my quadratic class last year, you saw some of these patterns because we did it. I don't know what you do in middle level. But if you were in quadratic here at the high school, you did that. Now, what's M stand for? Magic. I like that. But that's not quite right. Slope. Now, why is it an M? Why don't they use A times X plus B? I do know because I don't know how I found out, but I did. M is the first letter in the word, French word, monter, which means to climb. Climb. So that's what slope is. Slope is how far over to how far up. It is a number that measures how steep something is. Today's temperature is going to be 94. That 94 is a number that represents how hot it is. However, if you're in any other part of the world but the U.S., you're in Celsius. So 94, I think, is about 37 Celsius. But if I tell you it's 37 Celsius, it's not going to mean much to you because you don't know the conversions and we don't think that way. So maybe we should be doing slope in kindergarten so that by the time you get to be this age, it's just like a temperature. Because that's all it is. It's a number to measure how steep something is. Higher the number, the steeper it is. Negatives means they go down, but we aren't going to worry about that today. Now, B stands for base. So that's why you have those strange letters in there to represent the numbers in your equations for lines. Base is where you start, base camp. Okay. You're going to do some calculus today. Because this is what we do in calculus. It is. I don't want calculus to sound like a bad word to you or something scarier. Its first thing is all about lines. It's called a rate of change, slope. We're going to have function rules. You might have remembered f of x notation. If not, I'm going to refresh your memory. If you haven't seen it, you tell me, but you should have seen f of x. It's a notation. So I just want the rule. This is all I want here. What they do on the smartboard is they call it f of n because this is a sequence of numbers, so it's a slightly different notation. This would be if I could take any number I want, any real number, including pi and decimals. These are going to be whole numbers, or integers, actually integers. So I want to find the rule here, and the rule here, actually I'm given the rule, is n minus 5. I want to see a connection between the rule and the chart. And some of you have already worked ahead and figured that out. So I could do substitute and evaluate if I want to. My rule is, now that is not multiplication. That's my input. And that's my input. And we do tons of this in calculus. So we have to know this. So n is just the number I'm going to input. So if I input 0 here, because that's the first number I want to do, it's 0, take away 5. Well, what's 0 minus 5? It's easy. negative 5. Then if I want to find the next one, my input is going to be 4. So it's f of 4 is going to be equal to 4 minus 5. I like this notation because it gives me the input and it gives me the output. And on your calculator, which we don't have at least right now, it actually uses function notation. It's called y1 of x. So it's kind of interesting. And I don't know if you know anything about that, but hopefully we'll learn a little more. Well, what's 4 take away 5? Negative 1. And guess what? We can do this. This is called substitute and evaluate. We can do this and fill in the table. Now, I'm seeing people working, so my guess is some of you are smarter than that. You're clever. Tomorrow's the big Apple event. They're going to reveal the new features on the new iPhone. Well, who's doing this? People who are clever. You got to be clever and see things differently. So if you look right here, I am incredibly lazy. I don't want to put 5 in that expression or this equation and find out and simplify it. I don't want to do that. It's too much work because I see this. Negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1.
0.
Yeah. That's the easy way to do it. That's the clever way to do it. Not everybody probably saw it, but some of you were working ahead, so I think you saw that. I call this the brute force method. It works. It's 100% correct. It just takes longer. So I can do the same thing here. Now, when I go up by 1, this is going to go what? Up by 1. If this goes up by 1, and by the way, these are all going up by 1, this is going up by 1. There's some interesting things here to notice with our equation. Okay, so should we cheat and do this the easy way? Okay, this is going up by 1, so this is going up by 4. Check. This is because there's a mistake on one of these smart boards. This is going up by 1, and then this is going up by 4. Did that work? So what's the next one? 17. You guys are a little more awake than first hour.
25, 29, 21.
Oh, we're going up by 4. I was going up by, who knows? 25, 29. 29 is my favorite number. It's a prime number. It's also the number of my sailboat. I named my sailboat as Look Homeward Angel, which was written by Thomas, well, I can't think of his last name, but the book was published in 1929. M16. Any sailors in here? Oh, okay. Did you watch on Saturday? Was that amazing? The America's Cup, they're doing catamarans. Those things are tippy. They are tippy. Yeah, I don't like catamarans for that reason. I know, that's why they're fast. And if you watch it, they're hardly touching the water. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't kept up to date with that kind of sailing. Well, I used to race at Minnetonka Yacht Club. So, for years and years. What is this? What's this number going to be? No, now you guys, let me go through this a little bit. How do you go backwards? Because this is minus 1. Because we had some problems with that earlier today. Minus 4. Okay, so what's 1 take away 4? Negative 3. Some people are noticing some other patterns. Are you noticing other patterns? Math, that's what math is. I love looking for patterns. The more patterns I see, the more fun it is. Look at this. What do you think that's going to be?
Plus 5.
5. So that's 5. This one's going to be negative 2, because what we're going to do in the homework is reverse this. We're going to have you figure out what the rule is. So we're observing right now. I give you the rule. What are those numbers? You've seen this. You should have seen this last year. We did y equals mx plus b. What's this one going to be? 7. Okay, that wasn't too bad. And then there's another pattern. The slope here is 1. The slope here is 4. This is a rate of change. If I change the x, how does the y change? That's what calculus is all about, just so you know things change. Unfortunately, we do other things that aren't linear, so then how do you deal with that? They're on a line, it's a constant. So this is going to do what? This is going to go up by 1, and this is what? 3 to 1 is a minus 2, right? This is going up by 1, and this is minus 2. So what's this going to be? Minus 3, negative 3, negative 5. Okay. I'll let you fill that in. Question? Still, instead of n, you put x. That's it. These are dummy variables. So this would be negative 2 times x plus 5. But we're going to go the other way in a second. Now, where is this in here? This is the slope in my table. This is the slope that comes, the number it comes in front of n. So what's the slope here going to be without even counting now? What's the slope here? 3. And so then, this is just going up by 3, so this next one's going to be what? 7 plus 3 is 10. 13. Hope I'll do this right. 16. You could check it by putting 8 in there. Did it work? Is 3 times 8 take away 2? That's 24 take away 2. Is that 22? Yes. Okay, what's the slope on the next one? What number is this? Whoops. Sorry, I thought I was going to highlight it. It's minus 5. Does that work? 7 minus 5 is 2. 2 minus 5, negative 3. So what's this going to be? Negative 13. Negative 18. Okay. That's easy if they give me the rule. If they don't give me the rule, it's a little bit harder. How can I use a table to find out what the rule is to get this function right here? Well, let's try it. Let's go to the next page. Are we ready? You can fill that in if you want. Now, I'm giving you the numbers, but I'm going to tell you that there's a mistake on this one. This, and let me fix it now that I've found it. That negative 13 isn't right. This is negative 13. This is negative 18, and this should be negative 8. So what we have to do is y equals mx plus b, if you want to do that, or it's f of n is equal to the slope times n plus the beginning point. And by the way, think of b as beginning, because then you'll remember it. Those of you who had me last year, you kind of remember it. Where are we beginning? This one's easy. Where does this one begin? 7. We begin at t equals 0. That's what we normally do. So there's the b. Now you have to find the slope. That's all. So, and notice that these are all going up by 1, and you'll see why that's wrong in a moment. This is going up by 1, and what is this doing? Down by 5. That's your slope. Do you remember this last year, Lindsay? This is going up by 1. We did our tables, I think, vertically last year, so it's a little easier to see it that way. And this is going to do what? Going down by 5. What's wrong with negative 13? It's going, well, not only that, but it's supposed to be going down by 5. I think whoever typed it up just was off a little bit, and I haven't done it, so I hadn't found the mistake. It happens. These smart boards are not easy to put together. And then down by 5 gives you negative 13. Okay, so guess what m is? M is the negative 5. B is the 7. So what's the rule? What's this rule here? It's going to be negative 5 times n. If you want to use x, I don't care. Generally speaking, we do sequences. We use m's and n's. And we're starting plus 7. So we're reversing the process. And the homework's just like this. And it's in the packet. I just ran the whole thing. Now this one looks harder. Guess what? I don't have the beginning point. So I have to find the slope first. So let's try to find the slope. This is going up by 1. What is this one doing?
Going up by 12.
By 12. Good. Check. Did I do it right? Is that 12?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so now I know what the slope is. I need to know where we begin. I have to back it up. So I'm going to go backwards. And if I go backwards, I'm going to do inverses. I'm going to subtract 1 instead of adding 1. And then, instead of adding 12, what are you going to do? Subtract 12. So what's 5 take away 12? What kind of 7?
-7.
-7. And that's your B. So what does this look like? This looks like the slope times n minus 7. That's all this lesson's about. Once it's patterns. Some of you are going to like algebra better than geometry. Those of you who like the patterns and puzzles, you're going to like geometry better. If you don't see the patterns, if it's a struggle for you, you're going to feel frustrated. You're just going to have to come in and get some help. If that's what you need to do. One more. That's it. That's all that's in the lesson. I'm going to give you a chance. You've got it on your handout. I'm going to line my board here real quick. You tell me what the slope is and where it begins. I do have the answers online. I can bring them up. You do need to check. And you have a quiz, homework quiz tomorrow, lessons, hey, I think it is 1 through 5. I don't know. Well, it shouldn't be if this isn't due until Wednesday. Oh, it should be 1 through 4. I may get extra credit if it's not, if you haven't done it. Okay. Can't find the y-intercept. Can't find where you begin yet. Not yet. But we can find the slope. I don't know what to do there, but this is going to go up by 1, and this is going to go down by 12. Good. Up by 1, down by 12. Does that still check? Yep. And then we're going to do the first homework problem together, because that actually looks a little different. And by the way, if you're isn't doing an iPad, if I go too fast, you need to let me know, because it is a little slower than paper pencil. Well, I think it is. Once we get into the pinching of the screen, and you're going to like this, those of you who are older and you used whatever we used, remarks last year, you're going to find this a lot easier. Okay, so the slope is what? -12. That was pretty easy. And they actually did a pretty easy slope. Now we have to go backwards to do this one. I got to go this direction now. So I'm going to go down by 1. Then what is this going to do? Add by 12. So add 12 to that -7, and you get 5. And that's where you begin. So what does this function look like? 5. -12n plus 5. That's this guy right there. Good. And then they like to change it up on you, and they make the homework look a little different. It's really not different. It's just looks different. Whoever wrote it wasn't me. So there it is. First off, it's kind of scary looking. They don't have a place for the 0. Well, you need the 0. You can't write the function equation without this. So put a 0 there, make another box, because you're going to have that. So first thing we have to do is find the slope. Now we're going to try to find the rule. That is the y equals mx plus b. That's what this column is. That is the rule. So a lot of students didn't understand the question. It's the same question we just did, except that this piece over here is over there on the other ones. So what's the rule? What's the slope here? See, we're going to go up by 1, up by 6. Check. Did it work? Always check. This is going to go up by 1. Also make sure that this is going up just by 1. It didn't have to. It could have been going up by other things. And then that's 6. Okay, so the slope is 6. So my function, f of n, which I can't fit in my spot there, it's not big enough, is 6n plus wherever we begin. Now, I didn't have a space there, so I had to add it in there. So we're going to go back to get to 0. So we're going to subtract 1. And to undo this, we're going to do what? Subtract 6. Those are inverses. They're opposites. Well, what's 3 take away 6? -3. And that's the B. That is what goes in that blank right there. Is that okay? Because I know we had some confusion in the other class. It's not just a slope. N stands for any number. It could be 100. It could be 1,000,000. It could be a negative number. I don't care. So now I'm supposed to find out what happens when N is 20. I have the rule. So, but let's check my rule. I decided I better check it before I did anything. So I'm going to check it. Let's check it with this one. So the rule is 6 times the input, and the input here is 6, subtract 3. Do I get 33? Can you do that in your head? And by the way, you get better at your arithmetic the less you use a calculator. Use a calculator to check yourself, but see if you can do it in your head first, and then you'll do fine. Now I get 33. So what's this going to be? It's going to be 6 times my input, which is 20, take away 3. So if I have $120 and I got to pay out 3, how much money do I have left? 117. Always think money or temperature. They both work. So that's all you have to do. So some of you will probably get this done before we leave today. So if we want to practice on drawing some things, I wouldn't mind doing that. Plus, I'll also get the answers up. Same thing. So I don't think it's too bad an assignment. Good. I like that. Now, let me find the answers. And I do have a hard copy of them. They're up here. I just haven't finished putting them into things. So let me get it up on my smartboard. And hopefully everything is up on Schoology, but I should be able to get to that today. There it is. That's today's answers. If you want Friday's answers, I can bring that up. That's today's. This is lesson 5. But those are the answers to the assignment. Yep. Did I do it right? 6n minus 3? 117. Yeah. Mhm. Always. And these are already sharpened. Amazing. So are there here? Now, did you check your answers from last week, Fridays?
No, we didn't.
Okay, there it is, lesson 4. I know I didn't finish going through lesson 3, so you may have questions for me. Please, please ask questions. And my geometry notebook is a red notebook. It's over there. I never put tests or quizzes in there, so feel free to use my notebook. Not going to guarantee I have anything written in there, but it's always accessible to you guys. And I will put the solutions in there right now.